We're looking at the model RCP 8500 BCL3. This machine is a electrical driven, hydraulic powered, tube expanding and tube beading machine. We're looking at the hydraulic clamp. This clamp has an upper and lower clamp, and the dies you see are bolted inside this clamp assembly. Two shafts are driven by a hydraulic cylinder on the underside of the machine that lift and open the clamp assembly. Here's the electrical starter box. It's a self-contained reservoir. There's a reservoir gauge that tells the level of oil. Right there we're looking at the oil fill cap. Here's the solenoid valves that control the stroke of the clamp cylinder and also the forming cylinder. Electric motor. This is the oil filter. This particular unit has a 7.5 horsepower motor. We're looking at the pump housing and the pump. This arrow right here indicates the rotation of the pump. This is a stacked valve with a solenoid valve, and below that is a PO check valve. This PO check valve is used for the bottom cylinder that maintains pressure on the clamp during the beading cycle. And right here we're looking at the relief valve. This relief valve will adjust the system pressure of the unit. Right below in here is the bottom cylinder, or the clamp cylinder. We're looking right now at a proximity switch. This proximity switch controls the stroke of the bottom cylinder, which controls the opening of the clamp dies. This will be explained later on during the demonstration. You can hear at the expanding cylinder. This cylinder will make the beads by changing the specific tooling, and also is with specific tooling we'll do some expansion joints. Over here we're looking at an air cylinder. This air cylinder is used to position the forming dies. In other words, because we're using segment sets, once we make a stroke, the cylinder will advance and rotate the segments in order to get a cleaner and complete form on the tubing. This is the foot pedal, and this foot pedal will activate the sequence of the automatic cycles to the machine. Here we're looking at the control panel of the machine. This has a PLC inside. It will also allow the operator to adjust the time cycles involved with the forming cylinder. Here we're looking at the clamp cylinder switch. In the A position, it's always in the automatic cycle. Manually, left is down, right is up. Here's a formed cylinder. The same applies. Automatic in the middle, reverse in the left, forward on up. The air cylinder to rotate the tool. Again, A in the middle, reverse left, forward right. This switch here is to cut off the clamp assembly during the expanding cycles. This will be explained again later on. Here we're looking at all the tooling that is used on this specific machine. All of this tooling will be explained in the service manual. There are 3 arbors used to accomplish all of the operations required. These are all the beading clamp dies. They're the female dies where we expand the tube, the flex hose and tubing into the grooves into these clamp dies. And here are the beading dies and the different dimensions, different diameters of tubing that are required. The little arms you see that are welded on these segments are used to rotate the tooling after forming. On the end here, this is an expanding die. This strictly expands tube to make slip collections. These are the specific arbors needed to do the specific operations for the different dimensions of or diameters of tubing. Here is a chart that you'll find in a service manual, and this chart will tell you exactly what mandrel to use with what tool and what clamps to use with each diameter of flex hose. Okay, now we're going to assemble some tooling here so that we can do a demonstration on the machine. The cylinder here is mounted on a bracket that will tilt, and the reason for that is so when the clamp opens up and down, the tooling will always be able to clear, so the assembly can be installed in the tooling, formed, and then retracted or pulled out. Now what he's going to do is he's going to tilt the cylinder backwards or lift it up, and then he'll start screwing in the tooling. And this tooling assembly is just screws right on. The arbor is already installed, as we saw, and he's just going to screw this tooling in until the bead lines up with the female die, which we'll demonstrate here in a second. We can see here that the tool has been installed so that the beading portion of the tool is right on the center with the groove. Okay, here we're using a little gauge, a little plate that will pretty much center the tool on the female die. This is just a very good reference point. Now you'll notice here that on this retaining assembly, die retaining assembly, there is a set screw. Once you establish that the die is in the right position to the female die, you just lock it in place. Okay, this is done with a Allen wrench. Just lock it in place so that the tool will not move. Okay, now once the tooling is in place and in line with the clamp die, we're going to take the air cylinder now and connect it to the little arm on the segment set. And this little arm is used for rotating the tool, so that once you make a form, because the segments do leave a gap, then it'll rotate and hit again in the second stroke, and when it does that, then we pretty much have the 360 degrees covered with the bead. With the power connected, now we're going to connect the air into the valve here, because this machine needs air to operate that air cylinder. Okay, and there's the air regulator. That's the air regulator, and up here is the air valve. Now we're going to turn on the machine just to show you here, give you an idea what the air cylinder does here. Okay, now you'll see what this little arm does here. It rotates the tool. There we go. Better look at it from the front. It forms, rotates, forms again. Second here, we're going to go through a cycle here to show you exactly what takes place. Clamp closes, hit the foot pedal again, expansion takes place, rotates, expands again, stops, clamp opens up. There we go. Cycle, the clamp must be all the way up and stopped. We're going to manually go through a little demonstration here to show you how we insert the tube inside the die. And manually he's going to close the clamp. The clamp will close, and now you can see there that the nut is all the way up against the segment set. And the tube, the polyurethane covered flex hose is locked into the clamp. He'll raise the clamp, and then he can pull the tube out. Now we're going to go through an automatic cycle. Okay, when we go through this automatic cycle, what he does is he hits the foot pedal, the clamp will close. Then he hits the foot pedal again. The cycle will go automatically. The clamp will open up, stop, and position itself ready for the next cycle. Now we'll go through the whole thing with a part inside the machine. Okay, Rob, go ahead. You'll insert it and butt it up against the back of the die. You'll hit the foot pedal, the clamp closes, he hits the foot pedal again. It expands, rotates, expands. Clamp opens up, stops. Here's that part we just took out of the clamp there, and that's, you can see, hope you can make out the bead on there. Okay. Now we've got the 1 1/4 IPS segment set in here. We're going to do a form on that. Now he's going to stick the part inside the machine. We're going to make a form, looking at it from the back side here. Clamp will close. He hits foot pedal again, forms again. Clamp opens up, pulls the part out. Here it is, it's got the bead on it. You can pretty much make that bead out there.
Well, this one's formed.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and form another part here. Fix it in from the front here, up against the back side, hits a foot pedal, clamp closes, hits a foot pedal again, forms, rotates, forms, clamp will open up, pull the part out, there it is, complete. So we'll go through it again here.
Ready?
Yeah. He slides it up against the segment set in the back, hits the foot pedal one time, clamp closes, hits the foot pedal again. Complete. On the back side here, we'll see it do it, working. Complete. We'll look at it again here. Okay, we're putting on another segment set here, and you can see how far out of a line it is as far as the bead on the segment set is, and being in line with the female beading die. Now what we do is we come in the back here and we loosen these socket head cap screws right here. Now he's going to move it back. He'll slide it back. You can see it sliding back there. And he'll put it in line up here, and we'll use our little marker to do that. Now you can also screw the segment in and out to fine-tune it. In other words, screw the retainer, the segment retainer, in and out of the gun. Like right here, in or out, to fine-tune it.
You know, you gotta also...
You can see this little level or little piece of material that we have there, so we can line it up with the center of the bead. Very important to line this up right on center. You can see right there it's not on center. So you can see in the back there, you can just move it from side to side, and then that's where you center it. Once you get it centered, just tighten the screws. Or okay, now we're going to form another part, a smaller one here. Okay, Rob. There we go. Okay, now we've got an expander die in here. Segment expander. Okay, we're going to make an expansion here. It's a good idea to grease the segment sets. So with a brush, just kind of put some grease on the outside there. Okay, now he's going to start making an expansion cycle. Inserts it in the segment set. You have to, it takes a little bit for this. This is heavy wall pipe. It has an action. This particular one is 1.5 inches deep. That's it right there. It should be noted that this tape is made primarily to supply some instructions to the end user and to just give the customer an idea, or potential customers the idea of how the equipment operates, what the potential is, the quality, design. Service is provided normally on a 24-hour basis. Anyone who has any questions, just please call AMH. Thank you.